to death, somehow I felt like I must live. And I pray, God, if you are there, please keep them away. Please don't let them find us. I cannot tell you how much fear you feel when you know that they can get us any minute. They had machetes, each one. They have long spears. We knew there was problems between the two tribes, but I never expected a genocide, a Holocaust to happen. We stayed in that bathroom for 3 months. They never found us. My name is Immaculée, and it is time to go back to my country, my village, my home, and tell my story. I was born in Rwanda. Rwanda is a tiny country located in the Central Africa. It was and still is one of the most beautiful places in the world. Very green and perfect tropical weather. My village was in Kibuye. Our house was on a hill that overlooked Lake Kivu. My mom and dad were teachers. They were very good parents who were very respected in the village. In my family, we were 4 children. I was one girl among 3 boys. We loved each other a lot. We were very protective until the last time we separated. The memories I have are of neighbors who were like parents to us. We knew there were problems between the Hutus and Tutsis, but we never thought they could do us any harm. When I was in school in 1994, it was time for Easter holiday.
There was a rebellion going on, an ethnically based rebellion in Rwanda.
Right after the holiday, I had an exam, really an important exam.
The regime in Rwanda that was responsible for the genocide was a criminal regime. It operated according to the logic of criminal gangs.
So I wrote to my parents and I told them I wanted to stay in school to prepare for my exam.
And the aim of the military dictatorship was to preserve power by eliminating that rebellion.
My father said, we miss you and you have been away so much, away from us. So I went home.
And it mobilized Hutu gangs known as the Interahamwe militias by stoking their fear of Tutsis based on a history of Tutsi domination and exploitation going back to the Belgian colonial era.
Easter vacation that year changed everything in my life. The president's plane was shut down and the genocide began.
The 2 leaders died after attending peace talks aimed at ending decades of tribal conflict in the 2 countries. President Habyarimana of Rwanda and President Ntariamira of Burundi were killed when their plane came down near the Rwandan capital Kigali. Both were members of the majority Hutu tribe.
When the president's plane was shot down, it just was chaos. Within less than an hour, you started to hear the gunfire in your own neighborhood, right up close to you. Before, it was always kind of far away, and it's like it just spread everywhere.
It was a very well-organized program of genocide, It had been established before the plane went down, and it was just waiting for this event or an event like it to click into motion.
These people had lists. They had lists of people that had to be killed. And then it became crazy.
And I remember my father telling me, we are worried that you might get raped, and we are worried that we can't help you.
They were going home to home, neighborhood to neighborhood, breaking down doors, hacking people to death. Some of the names of Tutsis were being broadcast on the radio.
The Tutsis believe that they can hide in churches because in the previous wars against Tutsis, they ran to churches and no one touched them. They took it as a house of God and no one will run after somebody who ran to the church. But people were learning new skills of killing. This time it was completely the devil at work. You see, they destroyed and they shot every person who was running out. So you can see now that the churches have many holes in the ceiling because of they were shooting a lot. The light coming from the holes of where they shoot. It is so soft. To me, it is almost like a cry of God, of what have happened to his house. Because it reminds me of how a human being can be so cruel to another.
When I saw Immaculée back in her own home area, and she says to the photographer, hey, come and take a picture of me with this man. And I'm asking her, who's this man? And she explains to me, well, his brother killed my brother. And I'm like, wait, you know, my Western mind is kicking in and I gotta understand who, what, the details and stuff. And she just puts her arm around him and she says, no, it's okay, it's okay. I just about lost it because it's not okay. You read in the powerful little museum here in Kigali, a young Rwandan child saying, if you would have really known me for who I was, you could have never killed me. When I think about heroes here in Rwanda, I think about people like Immaculée who are willing now to share what life is like, going back, touching on it, exploring it. For her to take the time and to visit these places with people like us and let us share in some of that grief and some of that process takes unimaginable courage.
I did hate, of course. I was very angry. During the bathroom time, I couldn't understand how another human being can cause you so much pain. Why? We were all created. We never chose to be who we become. We don't choose our race. We don't choose our tribe. We don't even choose the country where we are born. And I thought that I can pay them back for what they were doing to me. And thank God, I was able to see that that was useless. That was only going to prolong the pain and hatred in this world. I hid in this tiny bathroom for 91 days. and they never found me. But I found myself. Thank you so much. It is such a great joy to be here. As you see in that documentary, it is sad story. It is sad story, but that have taught me so much. And being with you, I can't tell you the joy I have. It's the first time I see so many black people of my color, faith is such a great joy. I remember this in Rwanda when we are at church, sometimes we are 15,000 people in praying, so this just brings me back home. It's such a great joy to be here, really, to be with you. And as you saw in the documentary, as I said, it was a horrible experience. But like anything else in life that happened to us that caused us to suffer, we can choose to learn from that. I learned a lot from that. And most of the lessons, among many, I have learned was forgiveness. I never knew that you can forgive someone who is trying to kill you. You know, somebody maybe have said something bad against you or would, but not someone who is trying to kill you. When I was there, I knew it was possible when it happened to me. Another thing I learned was the power of love. If we felt in Rwanda, if a genocide happened, it's because our people failed to love one another. If the Holocaust happened, if the slavery happened, it's because we failed to see each other as equal, as human beings. We failed to love one another, to care. And looking at that, and what happened to us in that angle, only if we love, only if we make a decision to care every moment in our life, that's the only way we know we are preventing wars, we are preventing genocide, like what happened. Out of everybody who died during the genocide, the things I remember today is not the cars they have bought, it's not the house they have built, but it is how they loved me, how they loved each other. Someone who helped the poor person, a family that cared so much for each other. The little things they did out of love, it is what I remember. Truly, out of all, only actions of love last forever. The evil is forgotten so quickly, and it is there to destroy. I've been sharing my story around the world, really because of so many people like you who invite me, but especially those who later have told me, your story have helped us to let it go too, to put things in perspective, to remember that there is hope, no matter what, and we can forgive. I remember a lady I met in my first speaking I had, it was about 2,000 people. It was in Texas. She was a Holocaust survivor. She was maybe about 100 years old. She came to me shaking after I spoke, and I thought I was done speaking. To me, that was a lot of people. And she hugged me and she said, "My child, continue to talk because we need to hear this." She told me, "I have gone through what you have gone through, and I could not hear this from anyone else who doesn't know what it feels like to be there. But now, even if I die today, at least I can go in peace. I don't have to hold this bitterness I've been holding for years." And she's like, "Keep talking." I'm like, okay. I didn't even know what touched her. What was there, but the same grace that touched my heart. I pray that it continue to touch you, to touch other people. Another lady, she told me she had not spoken to her mom for 20 years. Out of a blow-up argument. And she told me, after he spoke, I went back home, I called my mom, and we laughed and cried. And I couldn't believe how much love and affection had prevented to receive from my own mother out of anger. And it was gone in a second. and my children can have their grandmother back. I pray again that the grace of God that is available to all of us, that touch us. We live on earth, we hurt, and no matter what we prevent it, we get hurt one way or another. And if that grace is there to renew us, we can hope to live in peace and enjoy. So as you saw the genocide, I was a student in college when that happened. I thought all my life I was spoiled. I had 3 brothers, I was one girl. And even if they teased me, but they loved me. I knew they protected me. And to have that gone, it wasn't easy. But I remember I was home. I was on Easter holiday. We were supposed to go home. I was in school and living in school. But this Easter holiday, we went home for the vacation. And I never forgot the day it all changed. It was 3 days after, in vacation. My brother, who had just finished his master's degree, my parents were so much pushing for us to study. We knew we belonged to the tribe that was not well loved. It was really hard to find a scholarship, but my parents told us, then you have to work 10 times harder. There is no other way out. You know, if there's no justice for you, then we have to work harder. So the school was very important for them, for us, and for them, because that was the only way out of our poverty, our injustice against us, against the tribe. So my brother had just finished his master's degree. We were just so happy to be home and to see us striving. I was in college. They were very proud. One morning, they came to my room and pushed the door. It was about 6 in the morning. I mean, he never came to my room that early. And he was dressed, and he had on a jacket and a belt, and he had a stick in his hand. Like something is happening in the family. My hope was that my dad was not sick. I loved my father, and he had been sick before, and I was just so fearful. Maybe something happened at night. He told me, "You are still sleeping. You don't know what happened." I said, "What?" He said, "The president of the country died last night." I remember jumping out of the bed and screaming, "This is it. They're going to kill us." So, like I said, and you saw in the documentary, there was a radio that was created by the leaders of the country. This whole genocide was not about people. People don't hate each other in a way of a morning they will come and just go to kill people who look different from them or who are different tribe. It is always the propaganda of the politicians for their own self-interest. Then they have to find a way to make people look different so that they can hold each other.
Yes.
In the meantime, they can win. So they had a radio for 3 years. They have created literally to spread hatred. The journalists, they will make themselves like they're drunk, so no one takes them seriously, but they're giving a message that is going into our brain. So they will say things like, "Give me scotch, give me whiskey. One day we are going to kill them. Look at them. They are not human beings. They have tails. They have horns. They will laugh." And as a Tutsi, you just look down, like, oh no, because others are laughing at you, that you're just not good enough. So we knew that was something they kept putting there. And anytime I was in prayer and silence, I thought, why is not the government doing something about this? It seems like this is private, but later we found out it was not. Why are not breaking this radio? Why are not doing something about this? And if it is them, I think they're leading to something horrible. So when the president died, my mind went back to that radio. This is it. It must be a signal, something to start the trouble. And many people believe that the people who were around the president knew that he will not say yes to kill the whole tribe under his mandate. He will pay. So they killed him to find a good reason to eliminate everybody. So they will never have to deal with any one of this tribe that might be a challenge for their power, for their politicians. So we knew that. Another thing that prepared us, now I'm talking to many Catholics here, if not everyone, the Blessed Mother, Mary, the mother of Jesus. If you know about Lourdes and Fatima and Guadalupe, Our Lady have appeared in Rwanda in 1981, 12 years before the genocide, to high school students. And one of the main messages was, a horrible thing is about to happen to you, my children. And I'm sharing this because Our Lady has said, my message does not concern only Rwanda, not even just Africa, but the whole world, all my children. And why I share this again, I wrote a book about it called Our Lady of Kibeho. She has said, it does not have to happen. If only you can listen to me, my children. And one of the things she told us to do was, pray the rosary, sincerely, with love, from your heart. And I love her so much. And then she will say, if you don't feel you have sincerity in your heart, pray for sincerity. We will give it to you. And if you don't feel like you have enough love, pray for more love. Heaven will give it to you. I'm like, we have everything with her. But in her apparition, she has shown the children, people killing each other with machetes, people killing each other, dead bodies. And she has sent messages to the president asking him, let people live together. Let all my children have the freedom, equal. She said, God will help you if you do your best to honor our human beings, people, my children. And they didn't listen. And then she told us, lay people, pray the rosary from your heart. This will not happen. And we said it once and we stopped. Then she sent messages to the bishops, leaders of the churches, priests. She said, insist on love and forgiveness. Preach that a lot, love and forgiveness. And people will not believe it, and they will just let it go. And if we failed today in Rwanda, no one can just blame the people in power. We were all responsible. We could have done something. And we can do something today for our future. That's what I got from that apparition. So we knew it can happen. And by the way, this apparition had been approved by the Vatican in 2001 by the Catholic Church. And it is the first apparition to be approved on the continent of Africa. We are so blessed to have that, and we're so happy. Many people are like, what? Mary is appearing in Africa? Which I believe she's appearing in every country in Africa, in the world, everywhere. But it takes time. We pray that we will just hear her message. And she insisted our church give us a great message, and we have to listen to that. And if she came, she didn't come to change anything, only to warn us to respect what we were given, to take the Bible seriously, the commandment of God, and especially love one another. So I knew all that it can happen, and my brother gave me this news. I just knew this is it. So we came outside, I met my parents. We were all worried about what can happen to our country, to our people, our tribe. My dad was worried. We put on the radio, and they started to report people were being killed. Family by family, 10 children and mom and dad have just been killed. Even people from the Hutu tribe, which, by the way, many great people from that tribe, not even half of them were killing. It was the politicians who were killing in their name. So there were many great people, and those who voiced against the injustice, they were killed. So they were killing family by family, these 10 children, mom and dad, grandma and grandpa. And I remember my dad saying, this never happened before. Where they killed the whole family. What is going on with us? Well, that's why they call it the genocide. Because the genocide is the attempt to kill everybody in a group of people. So by the first end of the day, we had so many people around home. By the second day, we had about 10,000 people. They were out to the door of my parents, out to the soccer field where my mom was a teacher, all over there, laying down, Tutsi and Hutu who were scared about what was going on. And the people would come to the door of my parents, ask them what to do, talk about love and all the lessons I have learned. The action of love you do today, you just never know how much they will follow you. My father was somebody who cared about the whole village, and I never knew how much people appreciated it. Actually have learned to trust him. The things we used to speak on our dinner table was never about tribe or how we are hated. It was more about who to help, who need to go to school, the neighbor who doesn't have money to see a doctor. And my dad, how we can talk to other men in the neighborhood or the tribes, and how we can help that person. how somebody doesn't have a dress to get married in. My mom is finding a way to how to find one. And as children, we didn't like that. We just wanted new shoes, new clothes. For them to talk about who to help again, okay, fine. And it all hit me when everyone was coming. Why my dad? He's not the oldest person, but they trusted there's somebody who cared. Literally, people used to bring their children for my father to spank them for their children. I know. Now I have children. I wish I have somebody who can do it for me. And so we will have like a long line of children and parents. And when I think about it today, again, I try to find a meaning of this life we live. What really matters. I tend to take more time to reflect now after what I have seen. So my dad, why him? Why him spanking other people's children? He never spanked a child out of anger. You will bring children, he will sit with you. If you did wrong in the morning, and he will give you appointment tomorrow or tonight. He spank you. And then when you meet, you're going to talk about the wrong you did. Why they call it wrong. Why your parents are upset, or why you will be upset with us if it was us. And then, okay, sometimes you, but he will tell you why and the consequences of that wrong can be. How it can affect your future. It can affect the whole community. It can affect your family if you get married, if you ever have one. It can affect the whole country by your behavior. It can grow as you grow. At the end, children wanted to be spanked. As long as you can take away all those consequences, okay, spank me. They loved him, despite that he was that person to them, because they learned something from him. And those are the parents I had. And I am so thankful to God to just have them in my life. I realized that we are a gift to each other. We have to appreciate each other. Our parents, our children, our husbands, our friends, people we just meet on the road. When they were not there, I miss them. And we don't know, no one of us have a guarantee that we even have one day to live.
That's right.
This life is a gift. Just to remind the people you love, I really love you, and I'm so appreciative. It was such a big lesson when I saw them leaving. And one time, as everybody was there, my father came to me, and he handed me a rosary. We come from a Catholic family, and I'm a Catholic, and this is not what he handed me, but this is a replica of what he gave me. It was red and white. He handed it to me, he said, I want you to go to hide. I didn't want to leave. I thought, what if something happens to you? But he said, respect me. It is for your good. I cannot fight people knowing that you are here. Anything can happen to you. You, my daughter, I just want you to be safe. Let me fight for people. I left out of obedience. And I remember my brother came there, he said, Dad, you're sending out to a Hutu, somebody from the tribe that if things really get bad, they might end up turning against her. And I remember my father looked at him and said, I know that man, even if things go bad, he will not be able to kill. My father always told us, judge people as they come to you. No matter how much wrong they have done to you, or someone from that country, from that state, that religion, that race, judge people individually. And he said, if you don't, and you put people in boxes, you will chase away many angels in your life, who God would have sent you. I said, you never know who will come to your help when you need it most. And you might think this is an enemy, maybe someone who's trying to give you a hand. He said, always open your heart. If they prove you wrong, take your distance. And avoid the temptation that is here to tell you they're all like that. And that was a huge lesson. And when he told my brother, I know that man. It is, if I'm alive today, it's because he allowed himself to be a friend to somebody supposedly was supposed to be the enemy. And he got to know who he was. That he will be a person who will not kill, no matter how bad. And many who will kill, but others who won't. So I went to this neighbor. He was a Protestant pastor, and he put him in his house. His wife had died. He had 10 children. He put him in his house. About 3 in the morning, he came and showed me this tiny bathroom in his bedroom where no one else come. It looks like he had 2 bathrooms in his house, which was unheard of in our village, to have 2 bathrooms in one home. I come from a simple village, very poor. So he showed me this tiny bathroom, 3 by 4 feet. He said, sit here until the troubles goes away. Well, this is somebody, really almost a teenager, a little more than a teenager, but who have my own bedroom 3 days before, because my brother slept in one room, but as a girl, I had my own room. And then in school, I had a room, I had a scholarship my parents had prayed for. And I'm in a bathroom by 4 feet, 3 days later. And I remember thinking, well, this is too small for me. I can't be here. I mean, I'm somehow special. That's how you think. This is bad. He went back and brought 5 more women.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
He went back later and brought 2 more women.
Oh.
We were 8 people. The youngest was 7 years old. The elder was 55. We literally had to sleep on the top of each other. The little ones had to sit on our lap. It took me a few days to accept this is it. Accept the moment. Don't find who complaining what you had 3 days ago. Now, what is the situation now? So as I was sitting there, he told us to speak to each other, not to make any noise, not even to flush the water of the bathroom until somebody else is flushing the water in the next bathroom. He said he will tell his children that he have lost the key of that bathroom. So we shouldn't say any word. He said, I love my children. I know I don't wish any bad, but it is a matter of one word. Falling in somebody's ears and say something, it will be over. If I found this bathroom, you'll be dead. I can't tell anybody you are here. So you have to help me to be quiet. We don't know each other. Well, in that case, you really don't need the names. You just want to know you're a human being just like you. That's all you need. We see there. He told us it might be 3 to 4 days. 2 days went by. 3 days went by. And the time he can give us food was the leftovers of his children. They put in the garbage. And we put on one plate and come and push it at night so no one hears him. He didn't want to give us that. That's what he could afford. In Rwanda, we didn't have fridges, especially in my village, where you can keep things and have food and crackers and snacks. You cook a little food, you finish, you throw the rest, and you cook at night again. So he didn't have nothing else to give us than what he can steal from the garbage when no one else is looking. And I remember the first day I couldn't look. I'm like, I can't eat. I used to be so picky in my family. Oh, if mom can only see. I couldn't even eat food that was all mixed together. I almost scared how food looked like in my stomach. And that time, I literally have to close my eyes and just eat the bad food just because I had to survive. Towards the end of the week, we are there. I had so many emotions. Emotions of anger, of revenge, thinking I will never speak to these people again. I can't believe I had friends from that tribe. Another time I'm thinking, I need to go home. Another time I'm thinking, oh, my mom won't believe what I went through. Well, do I even think about what she's going through? All the emotions, selfishness, anger, impatience. You can feel impatient like you can die out of impatience. That's what it felt like. Another lesson they have taught me was to respect people's feelings. When people are feeling that way, you just don't know what they're feeling. You just ask, how can I help you? Because it becomes your world here. It can be 1, it can be 200, but maybe their vocabulary is, I'm feeling bad. How can you help is the best thing. I felt feelings I never thought I would have. And I wanted revenge. I thought about everybody movie I've seen. Rambo, I wanted to just fly the planes and blow up the bombs and just blow up everybody. At the end of the week, I remember I thought I have had it. I couldn't stay another day without knowing what is going on. I asked the man, the pastor, to just put a radio outside so at least we can hear what is happening in the country. He was kind. He put 3 radios, different channels outside randomly so no one thinks it's because of anyone in the house. BBC channel, the country, the national radio, and another radio from people from the 2 tribes who were fighting to come to rescue the country at the border, who were just against everything happening. So we can really hear the truth and perspective of three different views. Well, when he put the radio, I couldn't believe what was going on in the country. The leaders of the country, who used to tell us to be good to one another, they were calling people to kill everybody of my tribe. Not anymore on the private radio, on the national radio. Not sending messages behind the journalists themselves. I never forgot one man who was a father of one of my girlfriends. He was a government minister. He went on radio and he laughed and he said how they have killed thousands of people who ran to stadiums. You know, they used to go on open stadium and they would throw hundreds of grenades inside after they chased people in. He said how they went to churches where people run to and they will make holes in the holes on the walls and they will put gas and fire and burn everybody. And he was laughing. He's like, don't forget the children. A child of a cockroach is a cockroach. Don't forget the elder people. It is a matter of cleaning the country. We have to eliminate this bad tribe. They are not human beings. Put them through the water. And you're thinking, like, what happened to you? This is a man who had a PhD. This is a man who supposedly was very smart. And this is what I always thought in my naive mind. Once you go to school, you know what you're doing. You're smart, you know? But I realized right there, you can grow your brain, but if you don't grow your heart, the Lord here. This alone can only damage, but these together, they can perform miracles.
Yes.
So it was just a moment I realized, okay, I get it. This is somebody who doesn't love, and who is just using the techniques of his brain. And then, after all that, the important people who had been killed, they gave order to go home by home to see if there's anyone hiding in places. Because they knew not every Hutu was killing, not even half of them. They knew people have friends, and there are many great people among that tribe. So they formed 300 to 400 people, men who were paid to go home by home in every little village to see if there's anyone hiding, and to go back, not once, because you never know who come to hide later. You think it was bad to be in that bathroom for 1 week and angry, but to know that someone is going to come to hunt you, it was the worst thing I ever felt in my life. I remember the first time they came to search, which they did many times. I was stretching, I had a rosary my father gave me, only thing I had. We haven't showered, brushed our teeth, we're still in the same place a week later. I was stretching and I saw something I thought was 1,000 people. But it was people from my village who went to school with me. Guys who literally I would consider friends. But they thought, go and do that. And they decided to do that. They were dressed in banana leaves. They had all kinds of arms, machetes, long spears. They came in quietly and all of a sudden they started screaming that they have to eliminate everybody. The only thing that was going through my mind was, that's it, my life is over. I mean, if they find me, I will be dead. This is a 4-bedroom house. It's not like you are hiding in some building and they might not find one place. This is it. I am dying, and for what? That was the worst thing to ask yourself. God made me this way. Is that bad enough to want to kill me and torture me? And you feel like you wish you can just take away that name they gave you, but no, you are a victim of who you are, who you created to be. So they came inside the house, you just think my heart is pounding. I mean, if I can remember the emotions I went through all the time they came, I felt like 1,000 needles were going through my body. I felt frozen. I couldn't feel where my fingers were, my legs were, but you can feel pain, like somebody is burning you alive. And you're not dying. Then, as they were coming inside, I felt intensely that I had 2 voices on my shoulders. Nothing too strange. I can still hear these voices sometimes when I'm faced with a challenge, really something we all go through. And one voice was telling me, open the door, end the torture. Why wait? They're going to find you anyway. I mean, this is a 4-bedroom house, very realistic. it sounds like you being smart, actually. Then I'm like, I know, they're going to find me and I'm hiding, they will cut me in pieces, they will rape me, maybe they will cut my head, and that's it, but let me end it. And then on the other hand, I felt like there's another voice that was telling me, don't open the door, don't give up, ask God to help you. Then I was like, yeah, right, God, where is God? What can he do? Then there's beautiful voices there saying, but God is almighty. Do you know what that means, being almighty? It means he can do anything. You know what that anything means? It means this is one of those things, anythings. There is nothing that is covered. There is nothing God can do. It's a matter for you to trust him and to ask him. But then on the other hand, the other voice is like, oh yeah, he doesn't exist. If he existed, this wouldn't be happening. Well, which is a good answer to be losing or the power of thinking God can do anything. Then on the other hand, I felt again the voice was there much nicer. If you don't believe God now, if you're not sure of everything you have seen, ask him to give you a sign. Ask him to give you a sign that he's there. And I remember in the split of a second, I mean, they were there. They could have been there in the next 5 seconds. They literally came up to 5 inches from us. So I remember then asking God, quickly, if you are there, if there is somebody who created me, if there is somebody I have heard in my church telling us that you made me, somebody who made this skin I have and this earth I'm standing on, I am begging you. I know people die, so dying is not the worst thing. That is how you die. People die, so I'm not going to ask you, let me just leave because who am I? But show me you exist, so at least I can die in faith. And I'm going to ask you one sign, specific sign. You know, sometimes we ask for something, and when we get it, we give credit to somebody else. But maybe if I give a specific sign, and that sign is done, I would know it is you who did it. It wasn't by luck. I asked him, it seems impossible for me that the people who are 400 will not find the door in a 4-bedroom house. But if you are there, you can do all the things. Please don't let them find the door of the bathroom. If they don't open it, it's not about them opening and let us go. If they don't open it, I will know somebody is there. And if you are there, I promise you, I will not be shaken in my faith again, even if I die. Thank you so much. After that, I fainted. I literally fainted. I couldn't hear nothing that happened. Until 5 hours later, the man who was hiding us came in the room smiling. We thought it was a killer. And he's like, oh, you're still scared? I'm like, what's going on? We can't talk. He said, they left a long time ago. I'm like, they left? Yeah, 5 hours ago. We were still frozen, waiting for them, thinking they're still in the house. For me, it was like 2 minutes. And then he told us what happened. He said, they came inside the house. 100 of them right away made a circle around the whole house to make sure no one jumps up out of the window and run. Another number of them went in the ceiling of the house, and he had to act like a bad guy because he doesn't want to know that he can hide anyone. Another number of them went on the top of the house, in a roof, to see if anyone is laying there. And then they came down, they started going to room, under the beds, opened the closets, removed the carpets. They even opened suitcases to see if there was babies hiding. At last, they came right to the bathroom. One of the killers touched the handle and then said, you know what, we trust you. You are a good man. You can't hide these bad guys. What we couldn't find, we'll never find it anywhere, but be careful, we'll come back. And he turned around and left. The man told us, I remember, he said, I don't know you praying, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it. He said, I don't understand why they couldn't open. He said, I was shaking, I was sweating. They could have looked in my face. They would have known it was over. But he turned around right there. And when I heard that, it wasn't like, oh, good. Or what shocked me was, oh my gosh, God is real.
Yes.
He's really real. He helped me in the bathroom. I didn't even have to go to church. You mean he read in my heart? I didn't even have to say words because we couldn't speak. But the most shocking part, a little scary I was, he really looks in the heart. You mean I don't have any privacy? He really knows all my intentions? That was a little scary. But I have to take it, this is the truth now. I asked the pastor, who was still there talking, everything is going through my mind. I grabbed his foot. I'm like, do you have a Bible? Because I thought the only way I'm going to know who this God is, I almost lost my faith in. I don't have a priest to talk to, anyone I can ask questions. At least I can go through the Bible and read what exactly I was going through. And I had my rosary my father gave me, so both two and brother, we helped me in the bathroom. He gave me the Bible, and I started to read. Not how we read sometimes. I know I do that sometimes, just to make sure I read the Bible. And then sometimes I don't remember what I read by the time the evening comes. But this time I was like, who are you? Why did you create us? What was the beginning? How did we end up here? Everything I knew, I wanted to view it with now perspective of really wanting to know, like a story. Okay, so you created us this way, okay, good. But where do we go after this? Well, look, there is a heaven, a paradise. And I really wanted to kind of paint that, what that feels like. You mean where there's no anger, no more wars and killing and beauty and peace and just love? But how long? Eternity. What do you mean eternity? Billions and zillions of years. Never to go through this. I literally took a pen, writing on a paper, trying to understand what that zillions of years means, comparing them to the life we spend on earth. And then I go like, okay, life on earth, give it 100 years. Maybe, that's what we end up, we might. Then when you compare that to zillions of years, it becomes like a blink in the lifetime, the life on earth. It comes like a dot on a map compared to eternity. Then I remember thinking, why do I care so much about this little thing? More than caring about that. Because, when we go to run and athletes, you suffer, but you are happy. Because for the next 20 years, maybe you're going to shine. But why is it that I can't accept my suffering here if I do the right thing that can take me there? So I kept thinking about that, and somehow my struggle was becoming less. Because I knew, let me just see what I can do. And then I went to the Bible again. So what are we supposed to do? Everything came right. Love one another. Care for one another. I left you the greatest commandment. Love God above and love one another as you love yourself. Okay, I can see that. But what about forgive one another? It came back. Forgive. Not once, not twice, many, many times. Then I'm like, but I don't think Jesus knew I would go through a genocide. I really think maybe he didn't know that what I thought. You can't believe what I'm going through, Jesus. So I hope this forgiveness doesn't concern me. And I went, and anytime I open again, forgive, but how? You don't know what I'm going through. But he knows because he sees everything. But he knows I have a good reason to be angry. I was angry. I have decided to become a soldier, not to defend the country, to take revenge. That's what was in my heart. And I thought I had a good reason. Then I started to pray. Because anytime I kept quiet, the devil came to my head. Then you will do this. If it wasn't the fear, it was the anger. You should revenge this way. I got through it and I'm sweating and my head is aching, but I think that's what you're supposed to do when you're angry. Then the fear, they will find you, they will rape you, they will do this. And I will be scared, all mixed. It will be like, I'm so tired because my anger and the fear is killing me. At the end of the day, I will go back again through that. And the thing when we are angry, we don't stop thinking about it. We don't will it, it just comes. And you go through the scene, and you put it down, and you go back again, unwillingly. Then I said, let me say prayer. At least the way I remember now, I learned the rosary. I say the rosary. I remember it took me 15 to 20 minutes. I tell you the truth, it was the first time I felt peace in that bathroom. For 15 minutes, I felt like I moved from the bathroom. I'm somewhere I can breathe. Then when I stopped, the devil came back. They will do this, they will cut your hands, maybe they will cut your legs, maybe they will cut your breast first, maybe they cut your legs, or the horrible thing, and then you can kill them too. No, okay, let me go back to my rosary. I say the rosary again to feel peace. I literally, long story short, I say it every single day, 27 rosaries, from morning until night. Not trying to be good, to hide away from my own thoughts that were poisonous. And when I couldn't sleep, before that bad voice comes back, I will say Divine Mercy Chaplet. And I made a decision, isn't it beautiful? I made a decision to say 27 rosaries every day and 40 Divine Mercy Chaplet every day. That took me from 6 in the morning until around 11 at night, when I can just fall asleep. But I felt like I've done work. I went to work and I'm home. I could sleep and get up in the morning, start again. I felt like I was around where Jesus was crucified, and I was just on the journey with them. What if they felt? It wasn't a rosary I say just to repeat words. It was, what happened? Why did you do that? Why did you accept me crowned? And all the time the answers were, because I loved you. Because I cared for you. I wanted to show you what can happen to people when you live here. But hold on to me. Remember, if you have trust, small as a mustard seed, even a mountain can move if you tell them to. Fight to have that trust. It does not mean that you will be protected from suffering, but I will deliver you if you hold on to me. And that really just put me back in a place of safety. When I'm praying, no more anger in my pants. But the only problem I had was anger in my heart. Anytime I felt like I wanted to feel fully peaceful and trusting God, the anger was almost like right there. And I remember a part that changed really my life in the bathroom was Our Lord's Prayer, which is a part of the rosary. You know, you say it 6 times in one rosary, multiply by 20 times, 27 times. I said Our Lord's Prayer about 200 times. And somehow, anytime I reached that part, which I think God understood my anger and the reason why, but when I reached to where it says, forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us, I felt like a red flag. Something is saying, well, you don't mean it, but you're saying it. You're making a statement, forgive me as I forgive. So does it mean if you can forgive, you can be forgiven too? You're making a statement that you don't believe. Now I know God looks in my heart, I'm in trouble because he knows I'm lying to him. I don't even think I'm in trouble, but it's like having a friend. Do you think we lie to a friend and then expect favors from them? That, when you lie to somebody, you really don't know them. They go like, really? You have to lie to me? And you want me to love you with all my heart? God is more patient, but I felt he was like, you're lying to my child. You're not saying the truth. Then I thought, okay, I want to be really clear with you. Actually, I haven't forgiven them, and I'm making a statement that is not true. I don't know what to do. Something said, well, I don't know what voice was that, but something said, then you don't have to say that part. You can skip it. Then you don't have to lie to God. I'm like, that's it. Good idea. I started to say the prayer anytime I reached that part, and I would skip that part. It felt much better that now I'm not lying to God. So I kept praying that way, forgive us, but not them. I go to the next part. Until one, I love prayer. Prayer has the power to change us. It does. Our Lady always said, pray, pray, pray. The grace of God will come to you to help you. Your job is to start the prayer. What will happen is God's grace. So I kept praying until a moment happened. I was thinking and meditating about what I was saying and really wanting to be true to the words I was saying. I'm about to skip the part. I felt there was a voice again telling me, hey, very gentle, I hope you know that our Lord is calling upon my name. It's Jesus himself who gave those words. If I were you, I wouldn't try to edit his prayer. What am I going to do now? I am ashamed to say this. I'm a Catholic. But the situation I was in, it could have been the Pope who gave those words. I would have found a way to say, well, maybe in that moment, he's a human being. Maybe he wasn't inspired 100%. Maybe he didn't know I would go through what I'm going through. But what do you tell Jesus? He doesn't know what you're going through. He doesn't know what can happen in the future. He's God. He knows what can happen. Not that he will is a genocide. It was the first time in my life I understood the meaning of surrendering. I went on my knees and I put my hands up and told God the whole truth. Dear Jesus, I don't know how to forgive. I don't know how to say the words you gave, but I am going to say them out of obedience, telling you the whole truth. Please help me to forgive. Not anymore, I'm holding to myself, I'm right, I know what I'm doing, you don't know what I'm doing. That was gone. It was more, I can't forgive them. And I think you want me to forgive, but the truth is, I can't lie to you. I don't know how you forgive people like that. But if you are almighty, as I'm asking to help in the bathroom, I give this to you too. Help me to forgive. In my heart, I thought there is no way you will know how to make me forgive. But I have to obey the truth and God. I kept praying, be careful what you ask for. A moment came, I remember I was meditating on the fifth sorrowful mystery as Jesus was dying. I took time to look on the cross, to think about what that must be. His mother is there. You know, they're humans. They had our skin. His mother is beside him. I started to feel really bad. Gosh, that must have been really horrible. To be a mother and watch your son dying. Even more for a son to see your mother seeing you dying. That must have been so painful. And again, I remember asking him, first of all, why did you come through this? Why couldn't you come like a pope? Why couldn't you come like a king? You know, rich and looking great, and then we can all follow you like that. Why did you choose poverty? Why did you choose a place where they will have rumors and gossips over you, over your mother? And why did you choose the pain to save us? Why did you have to spend 33 years with us, not one day? He could have saved us in one day. But why all that? I never had apparitions. I do have dreams about Jesus, about Mary, but not apparitions like I can see them like I see you. But I felt in my heart, as we all hear, and we can later think, wasn't that him or not? I felt in my heart he was saying, because I loved you, because I cared for you, because I wanted you to see what is possible in this life, and to teach you what life can be. Learn from me. I was rejected to a point of being crucified. But how did I behave into that? Did I curse somebody? Did I hit them? Do you know I had all the power to do everything? To push them, they would die in 1 second. But I held on to the truth, no matter what, because I cared for you. I wanted to give you a way to live and to let you know what can happen. And I really felt like, okay, I get it. I know, he's Jesus. The worst thing about people when we are rejected, we're not well loved, we know about this, all of us. The worst thing is that you end up believing people who hate you, who tell you you are less, you are nothing. You end up believing that. I really thought maybe we are cockroaches. Maybe we have tails and I don't see it. Maybe we are not human beings. Why God let them kill us this much? Maybe we don't deserve. And I felt Jesus is saying, what about me? Am I not good? Am I less because I'm on the cross? Because they killed me and they succeeded to do that? What about me? Am I less God, less powerful? Actually, he accomplished more in his pain. And when I was thinking about that, okay, I am that important. Actually, I can even feel what you have gone through. You love me that much. Then
And I remember as I keep thinking about that, the big change was when he said, "Forgive them, Father. They don't know what they do." When he's dying. And I remember it almost took me by shock. What do you mean they don't know what they're doing? Of course they know. But truly, who will kill God if you know he was God? Who make you breathe? There have to be blindness that you don't see, no matter how much you are told. And what causes that blindness? Because you don't love. Because you have become selfish. Because there was no forgiveness. Then we become literally blind to see the truth. And I felt he was saying the same thing for people who are killing you. They can't even think of the consequences that will come to them. The consequences that will come to their children, to their wives, to the whole country. How long this will prolong. This is, they're thinking about their anger, their pain now, their selfishness, what they can get. But they don't even think the consequences will come on themselves alone. Why? Because there's blindness. And you, my child, you want to be like them? You competing with evil? You want to be more hating than them? I felt like the world was divided in two places, clearly. One part have people like Mandela, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, the saints, St. Francis, they're all here. People who have suffered, by the way, a lot for the sake of truth and love. And then here there are people like Hitler, people who are causing a genocide in Rwanda, and me who are trying to revenge. And I felt like Jesus was saying, where do you belong? Where will you love to be if you see that clear? Of course, I want to be with Mother Teresa. I love her. I want to be with Gandhi, with all his suffering, and yet holding on to what is truth. And that is when I understood I do not have to be angry and to be carrying this luggage. I felt like a huge luggage was lifted from my shoulders, and I could not see the killers anymore like I saw them. I saw them as people were blind, and I don't have to be like them. Actually, people like Mandela, people what they have done, good people, they have done everything for the bad ones to come on this side and be good too. And they will still suffer, but they will do everything to bring people on the good side. Then I remember thinking, one little root of evil that was still in my heart, of anger, something was like, well, this is different, because I can never do what they did. And I felt like Jesus was asking me, and I want to ask you the same. Who among us, especially the adults, have not done one thing in our lives, or said something wrong? After a week, a year later, 10 years later, all of a sudden you remember what you did and you go like, huh? What's wrong with me? How can I say that to my child? How can I do that to my daughter, to my son, to my mom, to my dad, my brother, my sister, to my friend, my co-worker, or my employee, or to my boss? How can I do that? What's wrong with me? When I realized that I have those moments when I regret things, that's when I realized we all get blind sometimes. Maybe the killers are blind big time now, but I'm just one of them. I go blind and I can see truth and I can repent and change and be better. I could not see them anymore like these remote people were so bad, but people who are blind who can see maybe if I pray enough for them. So I'm not only going to forgive them, but I'm going to contribute to their change of heart. I started to pray for them, knowing if I can change and I have a chance to, them to have a chance to. And that was over. When I was so free in my heart, the anger that I was going like crazy stopped. And I started to think about my future, because now I have emptiness in my mind. What are you going to do when you come out now? Well, I might find a job. But what if you find a job with people who don't speak your language? That's right, maybe English people. Oh my, I better learn English, but how? I'm in a bathroom. Something said, well, how are you talking to me? Well, those who read my Facebook love to tell, I literally started to learn English when I was in the bathroom. It was like a veil was unveiled from my face. I could see the future. I am going to do this, I'm going to do this, I better get ready. And I read a book in English, word per word, in the dictionary English-French. No learning what that means. I, what does I mean? Oh, it means me. Good. What I am means. Go in the dictionary, check what that means. I read the whole book, and at the end of the book, I can literally say, my name is. At least that maybe will save me. And anytime I see myself standing in front of people, speaking in English, it really came from the bathroom. Because I let go, the anger I had, there was no room for anything else. The first, when we came out of the bathroom, it took us 3 months there. The first time we came out, the first day, I was in a refugee camp. I was sitting beside somebody who was hiding also, but who knew what was going on. And I asked them what happened, if they know anything about my family. I couldn't tell him, I didn't know. I told him, I know, but I just want to know details. And he went one by one. My dad, everybody I left behind was killed. My mom, my father, my 2 brothers, my grandma, my grandpa, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, neighbors, best friends, schoolmates. It was like end of the world. 1 million people were killed in a period of 3 months. Rwanda is the size of Maryland state. Everywhere was dead bodies, and dogs were eating people. It was those things you have seen in Revelation. You have seen the movies. The bad guys were killing, they run away. And the people were trying to rescue the country, the both tribes, they captured the capital. That's how it ended. And many times I wanted to crash. I'm like, what do you do when you go through such a thing? But I felt like there was a giant hand of God in my chest, and something was reminding me, don't crash. Remember me? Talk to me. You don't have to complain. Who did this? It won't do nothing. Talk to me now. What do you need? More than anyone, you know this is only temporary. How many that goes to 100 years? You remember what eternity is? You remember what a paradise is? Don't you think it's worth it to work for? What does it do you to do if you crash and cry and hurt and run? This is your life. This is your gift. Theirs is over. They have started a new chapter. But you are here because I want you here. What do you do with it, with the life I have given you? Ask me what you want. You want a friend? I am almighty. You want anything? I literally took a pen. I would go on paper. I only have Father God now in my life. I'm in a refugee camp. We're sleeping on the ground. And I will write to God, I need a room to sleep. Like a child writing to a parent, literally like you went to school. I need 2 pens. I need a notebook. I need shoes to change. I need a soap to wash my skin. I need toothbrush and toothpaste. I need a book. I would just tell him everything. And I need a room, and I need a mattress, and the bed sheets, and I need a cover. I would literally tell him everything on a paper. And how things came into my life. It was the biggest miracle, and really the reason why I wrote my books. To see a woman came to my refugee camp and gave me home, a handicapped lady out of everybody, who told me that she knew my mother. And I refused to go because I thought, I don't know who you are. She came back, she said, I knew your mother, and your mom have given me less than $1, 25 cents around that, to pay her school fees in elementary school 25 years before. And she said, for the sake of the love of your mom, I will not leave you here. And I will take everybody you want, just so you can have a life. I gave her 10 people I just met there. She said, I will take them to my home. And truly, she had a beautiful home. And that was next door to the United Nations office. And then I started to look for a job in the United Nations. I couldn't walk anywhere. I had one clothes on my back. And I would pray the rosary and tell God, I want a job. Because I want this and this and that. Help me. And I went to look for a job. They tell me no every day. And I would come back and say, but I still need a job. And I don't have money to go to look for any other job anywhere else. So I'm going back tomorrow. I went to the same office, and thank God, at the gate, there was always a different guard. So, no one knew it was me who came the day before. And And at the end, they opened the gate for me. Literally the time I was saying, this is it, I'm not coming back. Dear God, I have tried to just come again, but I can't. The last day, a man who was a spokesman of United Nations happened to stop me on the steps of the UN and confuse me with a friend of his who died during the genocide and run after me. And he saw I was crying and he said, come to see me tomorrow. When I was in his office, he said, now that I know your story, I don't know how not to help you. And the man helped me to find a job. And people were laughing at me. You went to the UN with one cross? I mean, when I came out of the bathroom, I was 65 pounds. Every bone was out. Literally, like these two bones, you can see them separated. I'm just walking like this and looking for a job in the UN where people are in a suit, all foreigners. But I'm like, but that's the only place I can walk to. And God can do all things. So with that, I think I'm good. The person found me a job in 1998. I moved here, was still working with United Nations, moved to New York City, continued to work with United Nations, and slowly people will get to know my story, will tell me, how can you be yourself after all you have seen? How can you be the one to tell us to be peaceful, to understand each other? How can you be the one helpful after all that happened? And when we learn your story, we feel like all things are possible for us. We are not broken anymore. And they ask me, write a book. I used to laugh at myself and at them. I'm not a writer. People who write books, they must be special somehow, born writers. And they would say, please write the way you want. One time I took my hands, went to the computer in the basement. I'm like, let me just write in a way I feel like I'm talking to a friend. Nothing's special, professional, in some ways like special writers. Let me just speak to the heart of a friend. Let me just put my hands down and do that. Tell somebody something I went through and where my strength came from. Maybe that can help them survive whatever they're going through. So I started to speak literally to a known friend on my computer. Well, I came from Rwanda, I this and that. I wrote the whole book. It was like an obsession. It took me 3 weeks to write the first draft. I couldn't stop. It was day and night crying and laughing. And 3 weeks later, I finished. I went back to it. It took me 3 months for the second draft. But a miracle happened. Like, again, not just for me. Anything can happen to me, can happen to you even more. Because God loves us all the same. He loves us. There's no one who's broken enough he cannot heal. So, after 3 months, I finished this book. I never met an author in my life who can even tell me this is what we do. I'm literally saying the rosary, going to Mass, and doing novenas, and just asking Jesus, so I think I'm about to be done. So, you're going to help me, right? Of course, He's there. If you can trust me, I will help you. Just trust me and pray and let go the anger. So I finished the book. I remember March 31st. That's when I put the pen down. And I had a little discouragement. Again, something like, who do you think you are? You from Africa. No one is going to invest in you. You don't even know English. You are less. You are in this country, but you don't read that accepted. Many little things will come there, like, stop it, stop it. But again, like I said, the other voice is there. It's not about you with anybody, it's about between you and God. Just do what you think can help a friend, somebody, do your part, and complain later. So I finished the book March 31st. And I'm saying this again to show you that our good God we trust in, can never be defeated, and will not betray us if we put our trust in Him, no matter what we go through. 3 days later, I went to a workshop, a little bit like this. And I remember coming out, there were many speakers, and I saw a long line going to the one man. And this man is smiling to people. People are coming out, they're crying, and I'm like, what is he telling people? Somehow everyone is joining randomly. Let me go online and see. So I go online. I love God that when you ask Him for something, by the way, don't even worry how it will be given. Yes. Just do your part. He have millions of ways to reach out to you. That's where the trust comes in. It doesn't have to be that way. It will happen. So I go online, doesn't know what is happening, waiting for me. This is 3 days after I finished the book. As I reached about 10 people before I reached the man, I realized everyone had a book. They're waiting for him to sign their book. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to tell him? I don't know who he is, what he writes about. Then I'm like, okay, let me buy a book, just pretend to look like everybody. I bought a book. I went in front of him. I'm hoping he doesn't ask me why I bought that book. So when I gave it to him, he signed it. By the way, this man's name is called Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer. Maybe some of you know him. It looks like they have written about 40 books. So I don't know who he is. A friend have invited me to that workshop, gave me a ticket for free. That's why I was there. So when I was in front of him, he signed the book. I think he saw the fear, and I want to go. He pulled me back. He said, how are you? I said, I'm fine. And he said, where did that accent come from? In my head, I think I don't have an accent. I'm like, oh, accent. And then I told him I'm from Rwanda, and his face lit up. He said, do you know what happened there? I'm like, nice, you asking me. I said, yeah, I know what happened, but everything's good, thank you very much. He pulls me back again. He's like, were you there? Were you here? This and that. I'm like, well, I was there, but, well, anyway, I told him in a few seconds, I was hiding, my parents didn't make it, but then heaven, so it's all good. Just trying to make everything look good, you know, you can send 1 minute. He looks at me again, he's like, what makes you smile after all you have seen? I told him, well, that is heaven. It doesn't end here. People who lived in 1800, they all died. 1700, they all died. So I would die too. I just want to live my life the best I can, you know, and I hope I do what is good with it. He looks at me again, he's like, have you thought about writing a book? I literally have finished the book 3 days before. And for those 3 days, all the fantasy I had, now that I think I'm done with my part at least, I just wanted to see my book in the Barnes & Noble. I didn't know. That's my fantasy. And how do you get from the computer to Barnes & Noble? So I told the man that I knew what happened. I told him, he asked me, like, have you thought about writing a book? And I couldn't tell him that I did. I told him I started and I thought about that. And then he looks at me. Now people are making a circle around us. He said, I promise. If you can find a way to tell people how you can be yourself, what helped you, I will publish your book. Who are you? How do you know how I publish books? But he said, just let me know when you're done. Long story short, I went home and I waited for a week. I thought I was smarter, and I called him. And I told him I finished the book. He said, in a week. Then I told him the whole truth. I'm like, well, what happened was, I couldn't believe, my prayers are not answered that quickly all the time. They can take a very long time. It was really hard for anyone to ask you 3 days after you finished. Again, long story short, this man, the next 8 months I followed. He introduced me to his publisher, to his editor, and the book was out on Ash Wednesday. By my publisher, who are not a Catholic at all. And I fasted 6 months leading into Ash Wednesday, thinking I was going to break my fast. And on Ash Wednesday, which I found out later it was Ash Wednesday, so I fasted 7 months and a half, leading into the publishing of my book, because I wanted the book to be something that will be something good. Who knows when I can die? I don't want to leave something that will mislead other people. I was praying for that. And fasting, I fast in many ways. I didn't eat meat for 7 months and a half, and I love meat, I love fish. I was vegetarian, preventing myself to eat meat just so that this book can be something. And the miracle happened 2 weeks after into Lent. The book was out. It was New York Times bestseller. I wish I knew what that was. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was because I was in New York. Then I was completely confused in the country. And I remember 60 Minutes called and wanted to do a show on the story. I'm like, okay. After they hung out, I'm like, 60 minutes? What is that, 60 minutes? They sound like 1 hour. I knew about opera, but not about 60 minutes. And I called my publisher and I told them, some kind of show called me. I think they called 1 hour, 60 minutes. And then they went crazy. Okay, did you have the number? Did you have this? It's a big deal in 60 minutes. I'm like, okay, somebody tell me what's going on. And that's when they really have to explain to me what New York Times bestseller means. And it had been a blessing. A blessing in many ways. A blessing because it allowed me to make a foundation that is actually a proceed of the book goes to the foundation to help children in Rwanda who are still surviving. We help them to build school in the places like Liberia, where the war is destroying things, as you know, have destroyed a lot. In South Africa, hoping it will continue to help other people as the book has been continued to be known, but especially it allowed me to write about my favorite subject, which was really Our Lady of Kibeho. I think if we know we are loved, as she showed us, she loves each one of us in the world, truly as a mother holding 8 months baby. That's how Our Lady loves us. If we know how much we are loved, there's nothing to fear. There's no more pain if we know we have a mother who watches over us day and night and who is ready to pamper you, not to judge you, not to reproach you, but to show you a better way. If only we can trust her, you know that you have a mother. And I've been writing more about that and hoping to write more about that. But before I leave, I want to remind you, please, please, no matter what happened to you, know that there is always hope. I'm so thankful that you can give me a chance to speak to you, but also, no matter who hurts you, it doesn't happen once. Again, we live on earth. We get hurt over and over. Know that there is always a chance to forgive. And if I can forgive, anyone can forgive. Thank you so much.